Hi, and welcome to DeepDive Talent Insights and Analytics channel. This is I Think I Love My Job. Welcome to I Think I Love My Job. If this is your first time and you don't know me, I am Dr. Kalifa Oliver, your resident expert in all things employee experience here at DeepDive. What are we going to talk about today? Survey fatigue. Let's go. In the world of survey and measurement, something that comes up a lot, and you hear it a lot at all levels of organizations, is survey fatigue. You hear it even in academia, you hear it in marketing, you hear it a lot within the employee and the HR space. And I'm here to tell you that while survey fatigue does exist and it is a concept, really, let's kind of break it down a little bit as to what it actually is. So the idea behind survey fatigue is that if you send too many surveys in a very short period of time to your employees, so I'll speak, since we're talking about the employee experience, I'll speak to that. You send them a lot of surveys in a short period of time, what really happens is that they get really tired of these surveys and they get tired of doing it, and what it does is impact your response rates on all your surveys, and so you don't get the best data you can. Here is a dirty little secret that I'm about to tell you, so lean in. They're not sick of your surveys, they're sick of you. Here's what I'm saying. So what people are doing when they fill out a survey, it's almost like they're making a contract with you. I'm going to tell you this information, I'm going to give you this information based on my perspective, with the idea that something is going to come out of it that is tangible enough for me to at least see or notice at some point. The closer in time the action is to the collection of the survey data, the more likely people are able to see the connection between the two things. So if you were to send them a survey right after that, they'll probably fill it out again. So what I typically tell people when they tell me I'm really worried about survey fatigue, it's really not survey fatigue, it's inaction fatigue. They're tired of you asking for things, asking for information, asking for their time and cognitive energy to give you information for you to just send it in an abyss and do nothing about it. That's what they're tired of. They're tired of you. They're tired of your inaction. They don't feel that if they are speaking up and being given a voice, they don't think that voice is being heard. So if you speak all the time and your voice is not being heard, then why speak, right? Think of it in any sort of part of your life. If you're constantly asking somebody that you're in some sort of relationship with, be it a platonic relationship, friendship, a spouse relationship, partnership, if you're constantly sharing information or they're constantly saying, hey, what do you think about this? And then you're like, you know what, here's what I think, here are my thoughts, this is my observation, and you're like, all right, thanks, and then nothing, no change, no response, no even feedback about what you found, then people start growing quiet. And I'll tell you this, when your people start growing quiet in your organization, your problem is much bigger than people not wanting to fill out a survey. 9 out of 10 times, it's true. If you send me surveys back to back to back to back to back, what I'm trying to decide is which survey I want to take my limited resources of cognitive energy and my time and my knowledge. I want to know which one is actually going to be worth the most effort, it's going to be worth the most value in what you will get back from it. And that's what I choose, because resources are limited. So if you think about when you send a survey, you are asking for resources to come through. People's resources are limited, and so they're making critical decisions as to what's worth my time, what's worth me stopping what I'm doing right now, what's worth me stopping my work, what's worth interrupting my concentration on a project, what's worth that, and is it your survey? The value of your survey increases with your action, and the value of your survey increases with your tacit action related to the outcome of the survey. And then the value of your survey increases even more when people are making that cognitive decision. It increases the most when there's a clear connection, or a relatively clear kind of connection between what was asked in the survey and what is an outcome. And believe it or not, sometimes just discussing the aggregate or overall results that you got from your survey in some sort of formal or informal setting can be a good starting point, because what people are hearing when you do that is, I hear you, I see you, I recognize you took your time out to do this, I am grateful, and I'm listening. I value you. I value your opinion. I value your time. When you don't do any of those and don't make a connection point, don't blame survey fatigue. I have heard several leaders across multiple industries, in consulting and private practice. I have heard it in corporations, I've heard it in academia, where survey fatigue is almost used as an out, not to collect data. But we just asked the survey, so we can't ask another one. Well, what did you do with the last survey? And what was the last survey about? And what do we plan to do with this survey? Survey fatigue can also be mitigated by communicating the reason behind the survey. So let's go back to the idea that people are trying to decide what to do with their finite resources of their attention, their cognitive energy, their time. When you communicate what the survey is for, what they can ask, when you can expect to get it, what it means, what are potential outcomes, it helps create a shortcut for people to place additional value on the survey, because there's more of an expectation and an understanding of it. There's more comfort with it. So a lot of times the failure of people to respond to your survey is less about the survey or even the number of surveys that they've gotten. People will fill out 100 surveys back to back when they're being paid for it. People will fill out 100 surveys back to back if they knew something was going to come of it. But if nothing is going to come of it, or they don't think that anything is going to come of it, the value of it declines in their head, and they're not fatigued. They're sick of you. They're sick of your surveys, and they're sick of not feeling heard, and they're sick of not feeling valued. It's more survey annoyance. I am annoyed that you're sending me another survey, but I do believe that an outcome will come of it, so I'll fill this out this time. So in your design, think about that. People are trying to decide on their resources. So in your design, think about the length of the survey. Think about the clarity of it. Think about the UX of it. Think about how you communicate it. Think about the language, your informed consent, your introductions, your labels. Think of the platform that you use. All these things can mitigate what people label survey fatigue. So I'm here to tell you, the concept of survey fatigue, while real, is an overblown concept. It is extremely overblown, and people really care more about inaction fatigue. Don't act on a survey, don't expect people to take it. Don't ask for somebody's voice. Don't ask somebody to speak up under any circumstance. Don't ask my opinion if you don't care about it. If your full intent is to do it as something of a performance, well, we're doing this because we can and it's a check the box exercise, then don't get mad when people treat you and treat your survey as such. You don't truly care, they don't truly care. When you design a survey, when you put out a survey, Be respectful of your respondents. Be respectful of the people that you're asking. Really commit to what you plan to do with the voice. Find a way to communicate something about the findings, even if it's just overall and in aggregate. Recognize that people are taking time to tell you things that are sometimes difficult for them to communicate. And a lot of employees will tell you they are very happy when organizations and leaders are hearing them, or they feel heard, or they feel included because you're asking for their voice. And again, these same people that you think will not share their voice and will not share their CV, if you don't find a way to listen to them and act on it, they will find an avenue to share how they feel anyway. Your inaction speaks very loudly to them. So, here to tell you, all in all, that if you ever ask me about survey fatigue, I'm going to sigh and roll my eyes and say it is overblown. And the first question you always ask yourself when you're thinking about survey fatigue is, what am I doing and what do I plan to do with this data? If you don't plan to do anything, it's not survey fatigue. It's your inaction that's the problem. Well, that is it for today. I would love to know what you think about surveys and survey fatigue. I know a lot of people do have some strong feelings about it. Hopefully this was helpful. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And never forget, there's always room for a brilliant experience. Bye.